All right. Let's get this energy up today. Let's get this energy up today. Hey, y'all. Waiting on my engineer in my ear. So hold on, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. How are you today? That's good. Yes. Oh, no. I just now heard that. Okay, let me see. All right. What about that? What about that? Testing, testing. Is that better? It's still there. All right, what about now? Testing, testing. Uh, Let me go out and come back in. All right. All right, good morning, everybody. They are hearing an echo at the station from me, so please bear with me as I get it together this morning. Let's see what is causing it. Let me see if I can. Testing, 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 testing. All right. 20 seconds. All right. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Bear with me. We had a little bit of technical difficulties we could hear.
We're just trying to close up the wealth gap. Get to this generational wealth, bet that. We gon' lift off like a jetpack. Time to tune in, not just speaking real facts. Right here is everything you need. This ain't no get rich quick thing. Create your own economy. Cause we ahead of the crypto curve, yeah. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve, yeah. Learn from the queen of crypto, your host, Naja Roberts, leading people out of financial slavery through Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve. Learn to get left behind.
All right. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. You know what? There is so much going on. And I actually was just caught off guard by something I heard during one of the commercials on KBLA. But good morning to those of you on the West Coast, and good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast and in between. I'd like to welcome all of you beautiful people to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, your go to show where we break down the good, the bad, the bullish, and the ugly in the world of cryptocurrency. This show, ladies and gentlemen, is tailor made for our community, unapologetically for our community. I'm your host, Naja Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery on this virtual underground railroad. Y'all don't just do this show to change the way you think about money, but to make you change the way you look at money and everything else around you because it absolutely matters. Today is Sunday, May 25th, 2025. And again, what a difference a week makes. There is so many things going on, and I'm just going to start. I got two quotes today, just because I can give two quotes. The first quote, ladies and gentlemen, and I've said it before on this show, I have said that the best revenge is massive satoshis. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the best revenge, and you all have heard the regular quote that says the best revenge is massive success. And I live by that as well. But the best revenge for what is going on right now in this day and this time is massive Satoshis in your portfolio. And I am totally totally, unequivocally, 100% saying to each and every one of you, nothing is going to change until you change your financial situation and you're able to put yourself in a position where you can make the most incredible choices about your life because you have the financial wherewithal. That's it. That's all. And I'm going to say that that is where we are headed. Actually, it's not even where we're headed. That's where we are right now. And in memory of George Floyd, for those of you that did not remember, 5 years ago today, we were all glued to our television because we actually saw George Floyd being murdered in front of our eyes. And so my other quote today, ladies and gentlemen, says 9 minutes 29 seconds. We have not forgotten. While the rest of the world has forgotten, we have not forgotten. And most importantly, in my life, I have not forgotten. And I hope that you have not forgotten because George Floyd's his murder was a thing that happened, but it is happening to us right now because although it is not a physical knee on our neck suffocating us out of life, ladies and gentlemen, it is happening this very second. So it's not just the 9 minutes to 29 seconds. It is the entire day that a knee is on our neck financially. And if we don't do something different, we still are in the hands of those same individuals that continuously abuse their authority and their power to take over our lives. And it's happening. And so today we're going to be talking about the big, beautiful bill because I cannot tell you how many people have contacted me and asked me, what does this mean? Now, we know the bill hasn't passed in its totality, but just based on what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know. I think it's going to pass in the Senate, but we've got to see what actually happens. But I have to let you know that nothing changes unless we change it. And so it's time to make some massive changes because things are just going awry. And as I was preparing to get on the radio, some of you may tune in right before I get on the show, and you may not have listened to the commercial before I came on, but before my music started, it was stating that uh, it was already in motion for President Trump to pardon Mr. Kavanaugh, which is the gentleman that had his knee on George Floyd's neck, which suffocated him and caused him to die. Now, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a hurry to do some things to change our immediate situation. And it's not going to be more marching, more complaining, and doing all of those things. We are going to have to aggressively do some things individually so that we can come together collectively, get the options in place that we need to have in place. And I'm not going to go through all of that right now and make changes. And I cannot say this more than I have said it the last 3 5 years since COVID. I've been saying I've got this feeling based on what money is doing and how money is moving and how money is evaporating from our community that we're not going to be able to live here comfortably. So for those of you that feel like you're sitting on a couple of 100,000, you're sitting on a couple of houses, is actually going to be a very different situation moving forward. So you've got to make sure that you're well rounded, that you are diversifying your portfolio. And ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, we are going to continue this conversation because we need to find out how new legislation may indirectly affect cryptocurrency markets and where people are going in this cryptocurrency market and what you may need to be doing aside of Bitcoin, because that is just a small part of what you need to be doing. But when we come forward, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are going to Las Vegas, I will see you there. We I am going to be visiting the Black Blockchain Summits. They have a booth, a kiosk booth at Bitcoin 2025. So I'm going to be over there very often, helping to man that booth, but also speaking and talking to individuals that have questions. I'm going to bring my book. I'm going to sign some books live. And so I'm really excited about this week. I'll be leaving on Tuesday, headed to Vegas, which is a 4-hour drive for me. And I've boycotted the last two Bitcoin conferences. One was in Florida where Ron DeSantis was, and he don't want our money, so I wasn't gonna come give him mine. And then the second one was in Nashville, and that's another situation. And this third one, I'm actually boycotting from speaking, but I'm not boycotting from going and participating. They don't want diversity, equity, inclusion being talked about at the Bitcoin conference. So it's very interesting. And so I'm just opting out of anything that is not supporting me, not supporting my community. And so um, somebody gave me a ticket because I wasn't going to buy one and support them, but I will be at the Black Blockchain Summit booth. If any of you are going there, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be there. I'll be there. So that's what I'm doing this year. So I just, again, this is getting to be something special happening. So hopefully I'm not freezing up online. So if you have any questions, oh, I see some comments over here. All right, David. Yes, 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 yes. I miss you too, David. All right, so we are going to be coming on. I have had a very, very busy week, but I am going to prepare myself today and tomorrow to get to Vegas on Tuesday. I'll be there till Thursday. If anybody wants to attend any events with me, please make sure you reach out to me if you're going. And you can hear my sinuses are crazy. All right, thank you. They're back in my ear. I'll be coming back in. Well, not they. Our fabulous engineer is telling me we'll be coming back on in 30 seconds. But um, if you are in need of anything in Vegas, if you're attending Vegas, please reach out to me. I will be there, and I'm super excited about meeting up with my friends and family. It's like a family reunion. All right, welcome forward. Welcome forward. So, what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes is just the legislative actions, even when they don't directly target the cryptocurrency market, they can create an actual rippling effect that can shape the market's trajectory. And we need to understand that. So, here's a breakdown of how I think the new legislative measures can impact the cryptocurrency space in the ecosystem directly. They are going to have stricter financial regulations. So you all know that over the last several years, we have been fighting to ensure that they don't make cryptocurrency a market that only people that are accredited investors can participate in, because that's what they were trying to do for the longest. They were saying how unsafe it was for underserved, disadvantaged communities. Anybody under $500,000 in liquid cash should not be able to participate in the cryptocurrency space. And what that does is limits access to those of us who don't have $500,000 liquid cash, right? And so when the government introduces regulations aimed at tightening financial oversight, it can go both ways. It can be good, it can be bad. But in this sense, our community specifically, and I'm going to say those that are disadvantaged or those that are underbanked or not banked at all, they're going to feel the squeeze. But I believe that the cryptocurrency markets are going to feel a squeeze as well, a little bit, just based on what you're dibbling and dabbling in. And for instance, the anti money laundering bills that have been passed in the past, where you have to do what's called know your customer, KYC. You've heard me talk about that before. These policies, even if originally focused on traditional financial institutions, often extend to the reach of the cryptocurrency exchanges, which we know all too well, right? But what happens in the DeFi sense? Because we hear a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space saying, oh, I'm on a DeFi platform. Well, I'm going to let you know that a few of the DeFi platforms that I've been on and been on for a very long time, in order to move any of my cryptocurrency in the last week or two, I've had to do some KYC. So they are no longer, not all of the platforms, but some of the platforms are no longer decentralized, meaning they need to know who you are and what wallet you're utilizing. And they're able to take that information and tie that wallet to you indefinitely. And so I just had to do it this week. And it's very interesting how a platform can start saying they're decentralized and then they become more centralized because they have to yield to the laws and the rules and the financial AMLs, anti-money laundering rules and laws, or they'll get shut down. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these stricter laws are going to affect the onboarding process. And so it's really interesting because some of that is in the bill. And again, they're not talking about cryptocurrency, but they are talking about, making stricter rules, and it's going to dwindle down to us. So the potential impact with that is lower trading volumes due to the reduced anonymity of transactions. What people like about the cryptocurrency space altogether had to do originally with anonymity and being able to be and have your own money without anybody knowing exactly where it's located and those sorts of things. So this is going to get a little bit challenging as we look at this. There's also increased operating costs for cryptocurrency companies that are adhering to these compliance standards. And what that looks like for us, just so you all understand the other side of the coin. And when I say the other side, I'm talking about the exchange. For every person that we KYC with the Bitcoin Bank, with Crypto Blockchain Plug, we've had to pay $2 per client. So if the rules are stricter and something else changes, we may move from paying $2 a person to maybe $3. I don't think that they can go much higher, but that also cuts into our bottom line, which increases our operating costs. And that gets transferred over to the client because we can't continue to pay if the prices go up. But when they increase, uh, the way that the stricter onboarding processes, we have to adhere to that so that we can still operate. So it's going to cost a little bit more for you to do business with a lot of the different cryptocurrency companies. And so that's one of the things. Another thing that's happening in this big, beautiful bill, and I'm going to say everything that he's doing, I'm absolutely torn. I'm torn on so many different fronts because it's good for crypto, but not good for our community. And so I find myself these last several months between a rock and a hard place. And you all have heard that over and over again. But these new taxations change significantly the way the markets are going to behave. For example, if the government adjusts capital gain tax rates or they introduce new reporting requirements for digital assets, this can actually introduce additional friction. And that additional friction is not really good for the cryptocurrency space. Even tax policies that are aimed at traditional assets may steer investors away from these cryptocurrency assets because they feel like they're higher risk. And a lot of them are. And that's why I try to get our community more than not to really pay attention to Bitcoin and the potential impact of the tax law amendments is going to be reduced speculative trading activity, which again is good because I feel that you need to stay away from some of the coins that are being introduced to you by influential people. But investors are moving towards stable coins. And I've said this before, if you're going to own a stable coin, you might as well just own a dollar. It's the same exact thing, or alternate investments altogether to really maximize not having or taking advantage of the tax laws that are being amended. One of the other things that I see in this bill is central bank digital currencies. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, the creation of central bank digital currencies may not initially target Bitcoin or Ethereum specifically, but it is going to introduce a government backed digital asset into this equation. Now, you all haven't seen a digital currency that is government backed as of yet. And this shift in monetary policy could pose very real, ladies and gentlemen, challenges for privately owned cryptocurrency. And so when we're talking about XRP, when we're talking about some of these other coins that a lot of people hold in our community and hold near and dear to their heart, and they swear that they're going to do well, these CBDCs promise both regulation and security backed by central authorities. So, what do you think they're going to push? And what do you think they're going to push out? They're going to push out cryptocurrencies that undermine the very thing that they're trying to do, and that is them controlling our money. So, if you're holding XRP or a number of the other cryptocurrencies, and I'm not going to get into it, and I probably need to stop saying XRP, but if you're holding these cryptocurrencies and they come out with this CBDC, they're going to do everything in their power to stop those cryptocurrencies that they can stop. So you need to be paying attention very closely to the market so you know when to pull your money out, because when they get these CBDCs in order, central bank digital currencies in order, it's going to be something. It's going to be something catastrophic. I feel just like we saw. Been so many catastrophic things that have happened in the cryptocurrency space, but I have to continue to say and smile. It hasn't been in Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. It's been in Tether and all these other things that people are creating. But the potential impact on these central bank digital currencies in this bill is cryptocurrencies marked as payment solutions could see competition from central bank digital currencies. And again, when they see competition, they seek blood. And I am just going to tell you that. And so it's going to be a greater public awareness of digital currencies that could boost adoption of decentralized options. And Bitcoin is a decentralized option. And I'm going to take a time to just kind of put a pin in it right there, because a lot of people say, well, Naja Roberts, BlackRock is buying Bitcoin, Michael Saylor is buying Bitcoin, Fidelity is buying Bitcoin. Just, I mean, you name it, and they're buying Bitcoin. But if they own all of the Bitcoin, how is that going to benefit us? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me say this. Most of those companies are buying Bitcoin for profit. All of us are expecting a profit, but they're borrowing money to buy more Bitcoin, and they've got to pay their short shareholders. So they're not going to hodl and hold on to all the Bitcoin forever, because they've got to let it go, because they've got to show or make sure that the people that loan them the money, that their stockholders are making money. And so I just firmly believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to be in the right place at the right time to be able to take advantage of being first and holding that million Satoshis in your wallet, whatever it is that you're holding in your wallet. But we're going to do well. I just really feel good about this. And greater public awareness of digital currencies is definitely a plus. Digital currencies is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going to continue to be dealing with paper dollars and coins and all of that stuff. In fact, you should see more and more coins drying up, and more places that you go, like Costco's, where you can go and self check, but it's only if you are using a card. You cannot use cash. And it's going to be more and more of that until it switches over to digital currencies. So the public sentiment and stabilities measure. Legislation aimed at broader economic or environmental stability, such as carbon taxes or energy relations, can indirectly influence the cryptocurrency markets, particularly those that are impacting high industry mining practices like Bitcoin. So, there's a couple of things I want to say with that, because I've been contacted by several people who were interested in creating a cryptocurrency and backing it by carbon credits. And there's just all sorts of things that people are doing because they're innovative. And I believe a lot of those things are going to work. But as far as Bitcoin mining and it taking a lot of energy and things like that, they're going to target that. And so, but I really feel that the people that come up with innovative practices like, like I want to say aqua, but it's not aqua, but using water to create energy and things like that, there's always going to be a way to mine Bitcoin. And so the potential impact is the big mining heavy cryptocurrencies may face increase in scrutiny or costs, growth of eco-friendly cryptocurrencies, or just a pivot to more energy efficient consensus mechanisms like proof of stake. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward after news, sports, and traffic, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Jerry, I am going to the Bitcoin conference. I will be We'll have a booth, the Black Blockchain Summit. They actually have a booth, and I'll be there. I have my books. I'm going to be doing some book signing. You can you can see me there. I'll be there. You can reach out to me if you have not already. Let me give you. Let's see that. So you can send me a text message. You can reach me there. I will be there. Um, I'm getting there on Tuesday, and I will be there for the entire Bitcoin conference. I will not be speaking because they don't want my topic there. They asked me to speak, and then they don't want me to speak because they don't want me to speak about diversity, equity, inclusion, and access for our folks to the Bitcoin space. And so I'm just not going to talk about anything. They can't tell me to change my topic and think that I'm going to be okay. So that's what's happening with that. But yes, I will be there and looking forward to seeing you all there. Um, if you have not already, please go to Amazon and check out my book, Queens in Crypto. I have a book there. I will have the book at the Bitcoin conference, and I will also be take this out of my ear because it is kind of loud today. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's kind of loud today. But anyways, there's just so much stuff, ladies and gentlemen, going on. Maxine Waters is really trying to change the way this big beautiful bill is constructed to make sure that President Trump and his family do not benefit from the cryptocurrency space. I don't know how. I really don't know how they're going to make that happen, but because there's just so many people that are supporting what is going on. I gotta turn this thing down, you all. If you all have any questions, can't wait to see you again. All right, Jerry, I will be there. Um, yeah, I should be speaking, but if they're not gonna let me talk about what needs to be talked about, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm gonna turn this down. Sorry, the radio is in my ear. It got real loud. But yeah, I'm just gonna sit this one out. I've set the last three out. I don't know. It's just not appealing to me anymore. But I love seeing my community and I love seeing people that love to talk about Bitcoin. So that's great. So I'll be there listening in. But I do know, they got to place value on all communities and not just the crypto bros. The crypto bros, a lot of them they have access. They've been having access, but our community really needs access. And I'm not asking anybody for a handout, just a hand in, like just allow us to be us and recognize that there is a disparity. And so they don't want to do that. So that's fine with me. I just keep doing my little short little YouTubes and doing my radio show and talking to my community and praying and hoping that our community is able to benefit from this wealth transfer that's happening. And I'm here drinking my tea that I talk about all the time that I make. Instead of buying my medicine ball, I buy my Satoshis because I want to make sure that I am stacking. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you are stacking. Hope. Okay, thank you. I'm coming back in 1 minute. Let me just see what I have because we definitely have to talk about the all-time high that we hit. Uh, Let me see here. Let's see. We are getting started in about 30 seconds. I added some emergency in there. I've been to a lot of parties this week. As you all know, starts with my husband's birthday last Sunday, and then we had two sons this week, a sister-in-law, and I'm going to a party in a couple hours. So, all right, welcome forward, everyone. We are going to finish talking about what this big, beautiful bill that President Trump has got to pass. He got to pass the House. And so it also has some things in there about broader economic stimulus or recession planning, which is a legislative measures addressing broader economic concerns. And stimulus bills um, and interest rate policies that are going to change, they will definitely impact cryptocurrency investments as well. When central banks or legislators, ladies and gentlemen, make decisions affecting liquidity and inflation or fiat currency, that's that dollar, cryptocurrencies often react. And so the potential impact from this bill will be stimulus measures that could boost cryptocurrency demands as investors seek diversification. And remember, I'm always saying we are in the right place at the right time to have the asset that once people wake up to this thing called cryptocurrency, they're going to want more of what we have. And so we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And most people should start diversifying their portfolios sooner than later, and so should you. So we want to be ahead of them. But the economic instability could actually push people to the adoption of Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. And I know a lot of people are saying, Bitcoin isn't a hedge against inflation. I beg to differ because this is we have no idea what is going on. And you guys know I pride myself on paying attention to money matters, not just cryptocurrency matters, money matters. So I can see when things are changing, not by the numbers, not because of the jobs report, because I've talked to you all about that jobs report before, where they give us one number and then a couple of weeks later they change those numbers, but they've already given out the bad numbers. So I don't watch that. What I watch, ladies and gentlemen, are things that are happening around me. So let me just tell you why I know we are in a lightweight recession. I'm going to say a pretty big recession. There's three things that have given me indicators that I've talked about in the past that have come true. And so I have to let you know about those. Number one was I told you all that we would be moving to multi-generational households. And little did I know, ladies and gentlemen, that I would be in a multi-generational household myself, not by choice. I'm going to say by force, even though I'm blessed to have five generations living in my house right now. Thank God we have the space for that. But I have my my grandfather, that is 100, my mother, who's in her late 70s. Then it's me. Then my son is here, that's 30. And then my grandson is here, that is 8 months old. And so as I have been preaching that we need to be aware and we need to be open, that people are going to need to move with us because of financial situations, I didn't even know or think about the other elements that would bring and draw those folks to come and live with me. So we literally have all the five generations living in our household comfortably, along with our children. And we have four children that are still in the house, aside of the fifth one I just named. But it came because there was a fire in Altadena and they were fire victims and they needed a place to stay. Well, what better place to come stay with your granddaughter, right? Or with your daughter. And so we brought them into our home and they've been out of their home. We're going on 6 months now. But I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, because as you start to realize that there are so many exterior situations that will bring um, economic disparities. Now, I'm not saying they're having any economic disparities because insurance is paying for a place for them to live and those sorts of things. But, ladies and gentlemen, please understand this is not going to stop. The different catastrophes that are happening across the United States, the different job losses are going to continue to happen. And as I have stated several times, get ready to be able to have to help and reach out and financially sustain or help sustain other of your family members. That's just what's happening. And so as I saw that happening, to me in real time this year, I am thankful and grateful that that I had the foresight several years ago to start to know that this was going to happen. So when it happened, it wasn't a problem. It wasn't even a afterthought or a forethought. It just happened, and it was like, hey, come here. We're good. We're stacked up. We're doing the things that we need to do in case there's another type of a disaster to be able to take care of our family. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to be able to do that too. And I'm not saying Bitcoin did that, but our ability to save and really start to stock up on some of the things that I talked to you about has been a blessing. And I have to just say, this last week, with all the birthdays we've had and all of the love that we had, I had to actually pause because we had a senior that we know well that was in need of food. And some of this food that we've been talking to you about, or I've been talking to you about, I was able to bless her with 2 to 3 weeks of food. So she didn't have to go to the grocery store until she could get her social security and some things in order. And those are the types of things that we're going to be able to do, especially when we have stacked our satoshis. And I'm talking about the year 2030, because it's not going to get any better than it is today. There is nothing that you can tell me that is going to convince me that something is going to get better for our communities, for our households, for our nation before 2030. It's just not going to happen. And it's just going to get worse. And so the other indicator that I have is watching people walk out of the grocery store. I used to see people in my community, and I live in a pretty, I don't know, pretty middle class, it ain't even upper class, but middle class neighborhood where people go to work and do all that. But I used to see people coming out with a basket of food or two baskets of food. And again, I'm always watching money. I'm looking at Costco's. How many people are coming in and out of Costco's? What Costco's is making the most money? All of those things tell you something about the neighborhood and the people around it. But nevertheless, I have been pulling up to the grocery store, watching people come out with a bag in hand, a bag, meaning one. And I had to point it out yesterday when I went to the grocery store to buy some stuff for one of the parties I was catering, that at least 10 people came out consecutively out of the grocery store, and all they had was, if they had a bag, they had one or two items in their hand, which is an indication that people are buying for the moment and not for the week or for the month or anything like that, because I don't see any full baskets anymore. And it may depend on the time of day or the time of the month that I'm going into the grocery store, but I've seen it so much, it just isn't that. It's just people are tight and they're really just doing kind of a day or two or three thing. And so that's very interesting to me. That makes me start to think, what else is going on? And that third thing, ladies and gentlemen, is my children's school is next door to a church. And that church, since we've moved to this area, I don't know, the last 5 years, they've been giving out free food on Thursdays. And over the last 5 years, that line has grown. And so that line started, I don't know, I watched it for years. Maybe there were like 20, 30, 40 people in line to get food. Well, I have to tell you, this last week, when I went by there to drop the kids off at school, because I see it every week, the line was around the back of the building. And it wasn't that they were giving out anything extra special, that anything that they were giving away money, but ladies and gentlemen, they were giving away the same food that they always give out, but there is more of a need. And so you've got to look at these things and you've got to understand that they directly affect everything around them and everything around us. And we've got to get ready because times are getting harder, and we've got to start investing more and really starting to pay attention to where we're going in this economy, because America is not being made great again in its totality. I will say there's a lot of things going on. Again, I'm between a rock and a hard place because it's going good for the cryptocurrency space, but not good for several communities. And so, with that, if we have the Satoshis that we need, we're going to be able to thrive. So, when we come forward, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue the conversation. This is KBLA Talk 1580. I came out of that break pretty late, so I'm gonna have to talk about the all-time high because we hit that this week, and it was on a actual day that was critically important as well. So, but yeah, I got a lot going on here. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I got any more comments in here. No comments. All right, man. I've been to all these birthday parties and events. I hope I'm not catching a cold or caught anything else because I got to go to Bitcoin 2025. So I am going to echinacea myself up, elderberry myself up, and get some stuff going. But let's see here. All right. We are, let me see what we got on here. Scott Besant is talking about something with cryptocurrency. We'll look at it. I'm not going to be able to address it today because we have coming up on the top of the hour, but looking at, let me see where Bitcoin is at right now. Let me see if he'll let me take it to the top or if I got to come out for one more commercial. We're good? Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. I'm trying to see where we are. Bitcoin is at $2.2 trillion in market cap, which is incredible. Bitcoin is at 107. Man, I just remember when it was 87 a couple weeks ago. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, they're coming back. I'm coming back in just a second. So I'm just waiting for the commercial. So bear with me. All right, welcome forward. So really quickly, the takeaways today, ladies and gentlemen, about the big, beautiful bill. Number one, a lot of people don't understand how legislation works. So the bill was passed in the House. It now has to pass in the Senate, and we'll see what happens. But legislation may not explicitly target cryptocurrency ecosystem, but it still has a potential, as I've just demonstrated to you, to indirectly shift the market's dynamics. Regulation is going to tighten, in multiple jurisdictions. And the key for cryptocurrency investors and businesses is to remain informed and agile. You have to be agile in the cryptocurrency space. And again, never investing more than you can afford to lose. You got to understand that the broader social economic trends can provide a strategic advantage in navigating what we know is a volatile yet promising space. For us as disadvantaged communities, and I hate to say that we're disadvantaged, we're not at as much of an advantage as some other communities, but adapting to Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency space presents both opportunities and challenges. And I have to keep saying that it's an opportunity and it's a challenge. On one hand, cryptocurrencies can provide access to financial tools and services that have previously been unavailable to those of us in the community that were not accredited investors. And so we're getting a better deal in the Bitcoin space than we've ever got. But it's also enabling greater financial inclusion and empowerment. I feel so empowered, ladies and gentlemen. They offer ways, these cryptocurrencies offer ways for us to bypass traditional banking systems and reduce banking fees. And also it helps us foster economic participation if you're unbanked. I mean, look at what's happening in other parts of the world where people have a cell phone and they're able to transact without a bank. But these opportunities come with significant barriers, such as lack of education. And that is why we're here on the show talking all the time. That's why I'm telling you, if you have someone that you know that is influential, like a pastor or something like that, please talk to them about allowing us to come in and educate the community on cryptocurrencies. A lot of people have minimal access to the necessary technology, and the risk of the volatile markets can disproportionately affect financial vulnerable individuals. And I get that. You know why? Because everybody that comes to our community talking get rich quick, we jump on board, we lose our money because they're scammers, and then we think that Bitcoin thing is a scam. It wasn't the Bitcoin thing that was a scam, it was a person or the platform that you got involved in. So I want to make sure that we're clear about that. We need to continue building an infrastructure and improving digital literacy. So help me with that. That's my goal. And again, really quickly, please have a million Satoshis in your portfolio. And if you don't have a million Satoshis in your portfolio, let's work towards getting you a million Satoshis in your portfolio. Then you need to get a million Satoshis for your sister, your brother, your uncles, your cousins. You don't need to get it. You need to talk to them about getting it, but they need the education. So I'm here to educate if you're having the people together to listen. So open up, let's get this done. We need to create some supportive policies that are essential for us ensuring that cryptocurrency adoption serves our communities positively rather than exacerbating the existing inequalities. And so that is what I'm saying we need to get out of this bill. We can whine and we can complain and all of those things, but ladies and gentlemen, I honestly, not that I want it to pass, but I'm not going to say either way, but I know for a fact they're going to probably pass that bill. But let me just say this. Bitcoin had a very, very significant week that just passed. And it happened on May 22nd, which happens to be my youngest son's birthday. So happy birthday to Dayon. He turned 10 on Thursday on May 22nd, which actually happens to be Bitcoin Pizza Day, which is when Bitcoin first got its actual valuation, I'll call it that, because somebody sold 10,000 Bitcoin. I can almost fall on the floor now when I think about that. So 10,000 Bitcoin for two Domino pizzas. And that's what gave Bitcoin its first value. And so that gentleman is still alive that sold his 10,000 Bitcoin for two pizzas. And I know every day he wakes up, he's about sick. But he did that, and he was significant in the history of what is happening. But that happened on May 22nd, right? But also at 9 a.m. Eastern time, which is 6 a.m. our time, Bitcoin traded at $111,406. That is the all-time high, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited about that. And y'all know I always say my kids better not my grandkids, because the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So I'm going to say my grandkids better not sell Nana's houses and better not sell Nana's Bitcoin, right? But we're super excited about what the price is because I'm super excited, but I don't want y'all to watch the price at the same time. I just want you to relax and understand this price action is nowhere near what I feel Bitcoin is going to do. And you got to just buy and hold right now. This is going to shake out well for us. It's going to shake out well for us. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say really quickly, I'm looking at the charts, and I needed to pull this up. Bitcoin right now is trading at $107,446, and it is up in the last hour, and it is down in the last 24 hours, up in the last 7 days. We can do this, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit at a time. And I'm looking at Ethereum, and I'm looking at, I told y'all, Tether is a stable coin. So if you're going to own a Tether, you might as well own a dollar. Like, what's the point? What is the point? What is the point? I don't get it. But a lot of people are moving to stable coins. There's another one, USDC. It's trading right now at 99 cents, which lets us know that the US dollar is trading at 99 cents. And so while we can still go to the store and purchase our goods with a dollar, it's only worth 99 cents. And so when you're dealing with the stable coins, it's pegged to the dollar, if not backed by the dollar, depending on which one you get. So you might as well just hold the dollar. I don't know. But that is what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. The fear and greed index is at 67, which is in the green. And man, I'm seeing all these coins. I don't want to name any of these coins because some of these coins are detrimental to our health. But some of these coins are losing their value. Pretty interesting. And you got to realize, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no liquidity, if there's no way for you to cash out when it's time, it's a bad thing. And I think that a lot of the popular coins that people are getting involved in, they don't have any liquidity because the individuals that created it have taken the money out and they're doing other things. They're investing, they're building, and they're getting I'm going to say they're going to get influencers and different people to get involved with them. But, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it, we are really focusing on getting a million Satoshis into every single household. I will be in Las Vegas this week. If you are in Las Vegas for Bitcoin 2025, please visit the Black Blockchain Summit booth. It shouldn't be hard to find us. It's going to be 10 to 15 of us at a booth at the Bitcoin conference. So again, we're going to be sticking out like a sore thumb, and you'll get an opportunity to meet myself, Fred, Barbara, who was my tour guide for the Digital Financial Revolution tour, Sinclair Skinner. There's some folks there from Africa. It's just going to be a good time. So just come out and meet us there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for rocking with me here on head of the crypto curve, KBLA. Y'all don't touch that dial. It's time to make way for Altadena Rising. I can't even talk today with James Farr. I want to thank each and every one of you and have an incredible rest of your week. See you soon. Peace and blessings, fam.
You're listening to Naja Roberts on the head of the crypto curve. Please follow her on all social media platforms at Naja Roberts. No underscores, no dots, no numbers, just Naja Roberts. Let's close the wealth gap. It's our turn. Learn or get left behind. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve.
All right.
You're listening to Naja Roberts.
Let me, Urban Spinster, I see your message. I see your message. Hold on one second. Let me see why. This week, if you text me, I've had like 6 birthdays. I'm on my way to go decorate for a birthday party right now. So I haven't, but let me get back to you on the book. I will definitely get a book to you. And then also, I take my Satoshis off the exchange immediately. I never leave my Satoshis on an exchange. So whether I'm buying $5, $100, or I'm buying more than $5, but when I get to like $50, $60, I take it off and put it into my own cold wallet. I never leave it on an exchange. So I hope that helps. I tell people to get up to 1,000,000 Satoshis and then move it. But now that 1,000,000 Satoshis is $1,007, I wouldn't keep $1,000 on an exchange. I wouldn't keep past $50 on an exchange. So that's just me. So I hope that helps. And I see one more comment. Let me read it. No. Nobody else can see what you're typing. So if you can just type your name in there, I'll know. I check my text messages. Just type your name in. Um, Type your name in there for me and I'll get it to you. I appreciate you all. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I try to transfer, I just transfer anytime because I don't care because I know that the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. But what I will say for those that are looking for times to transfer, the middle of the night, most of the time between Saturday to Sunday is a good time. Some people set their alarms, they wake up and they transfer at that time. If you're talking about gas fees, like gas fees are ridiculous, which is why I don't do Ethereum and some of these other ones. But with Bitcoin, you can get some lower prices on the mining fees and things like that if you do anything on a Saturday night leading into Sunday morning. So hopefully that helps. You, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day. I got another party to go decorate for. May is a massive month for my family. I've had 7 birthdays this week and parties, bridal shower, just all kind of stuff. So I'm a little exhausted, but I'm going to get this last party done today and get ready for Bitcoin 2025 in Vegas. I hope to see you all there. Have an incredible rest of your day. Peace and blessings, fam.